Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast, or should I say the Cricket Nerd? Because as you can see, it's just me. Both Benj and James are occupied today. They can't make it, unfortunately. However, the cricket has been so good that it would be silly of us not to do one. So I thought, why not? It's just me, but we'll give it a go. So we're going to start by talking about the India Bangladesh game that just happened because the series has been a bit one-sided before this game. Bangladesh um, beat India quite comprehensively in the first game. The second game was a bit tighter. And then in this game, India have absolutely hammered them. And it's mostly down to the genius of Ishan Kishan, who is one of those players who we've seen him play well in the IPL. We've seen him do okay for India, but there's mostly been in 2020 matches. However, what we've seen today from him is scoring 210, one of a few double centuries in the one day game. There haven't been many, and it was the fastest one in history. So he did something incredible today. He was hitting the ball to all parts, scoring lots of boundaries, and Bangladesh couldn't bowl to him. They didn't know how to set a field to him because he was just destructive. And we've seen glimpses of that from Mumbai Indians in the IPL, where he's absolutely taken bowling attacks apart. And what's so exciting about seeing him in one day cricket is the fact that in 2020 cricket, you know the innings is going to end eventually in 15 overs. Whereas in 50 over cricket, if a batsman who's opening the batsman goes from ball one and keeps going all the way to about the 30th over or something around there when he got out, you know they're going to get a big score. And we saw that from Ishan Kishan today, to the point where it was a shame that he got out, because if he'd batted the full 50 overs, he could have scored over 300 because of the way he was going. But in his actual record in first class cricket, he's hit 5 centuries in 87 List A games, which is pretty good. So we know he's a good one day player anyway. He averages over 35, which is what you kind of want to be averaging in one day cricket nowadays. But never has he got that double century. And today he got that double century, and it was awesome batting. To get India up to 409, it's, a team's done very well when they've got over 400, and it was just too much for Bangladesh, who had a go, but in the end, their batting power wasn't strong enough to get them over the line, and India's bowling was too good. And Bangladesh, they've got a very good record at home. They are good at home, and we saw that in the first one day. We saw that in the second one day, and I think the key was big runs, because although Bangladesh have a good team, they're not a 350 plus team. They're a 300 team at their best, and they're a good bowling side. So India were just too strong on the day, especially Ishan Kishan. And I've not even mentioned the fact that Kohli got a century, which again was masterful in itself. It's just, imagine scoring a century and be overshadowed by someone who scored 200. It's just, yeah, Kohli did an awesome job as well. And his return to form is awesome for me, being a Royal Challengers fan, because we want that to happen. We want Kohli in form for the IPL, and his innings as well. It was a strike rate of above 100, so we can see Kohli accelerate when he needs to. And yeah, his innings as well was very good. It's just the way he hits the ball into gaps. He's a busy player. He gets the ones and twos, whereas Ishan Kishan's innings was all about brute power and strength. Virat Kohli was just nudging the ones and twos, keeping the scoreboard ticking over, getting Ishan Kishan on strike. And that shows how good a player Virat Kohli is. And yeah, it was just too much. So that's the India Bangladesh game. A deserved series victory for Bangladesh, but India, massive consolation win there at the end. Now I'm going to talk about England Pakistan, because as an England fan, I want England to win. And I woke up this morning expecting Pakistan to be 2 wickets down, Babar Azam still in, South Shakil still in, playing great innings. And lo and behold, they were all out at lunch, were Pakistan. They'd only managed to, they got up to 140 for two, and then they collapsed, losing their last 8 wickets for just 60 runs, which was mostly down to Jack Leach, who bowled incredibly well, but also Ollie Robinson. He was the one who really started that collapse. He put the panic into it by bowling Babar Azam with an absolute beauty. Seen the highlights, getting middle and off. That's where you want to bowl. It doesn't matter who the batsman is, whether it's Babar Azam or a number 11. If you go for middle and off, top of off, then as a fast bowler, that's all you can ask to do, and you will get wickets. And Robinson came into the attack having not really bowled much yesterday, got a wicket straight away, which was awesome. And then it just capitulated from there. Interesting shot making from Pakistan. I don't think they did too well, really. They made a few mistakes, a few big shots when they didn't need to. Kind of, they didn't really know how to bat. And I think we saw that with Rizwan's innings. Very defensive, almost refusing to take the attack back to England. And I think when you're a naturally attacking batsman like Rizwan, you want to see that from him. You want to see him putting the pressure back on the England bowlers, but he allowed England to bowl at him. And given the nature of the pitch, it's not like Rawalpindi, where you can just sit in for a while. This pitch is spinning more than any pitch we've seen in Pakistan over recent years. It was spinning a lot. And eventually Jack Leach just was able to get the breakthrough, bowling Rizwan through the gate. So eventually it gets to the stage where you need to think, right, you just need to put a bit more pressure on. And they needed to get up to England's score. England, to only score 281 in the first innings, Pakistan would have been looking at a big first innings lead, especially with the platform from Azam and Shakil. So for England to have a 79-run lead, as an England fan, very stoked about that. Talking of Stokes, he's batted sensibly today, 16 off 25, taking England to the close when they were in a little bit of trouble, because today England have done some really questionable things. I know we questioned Bazball at the start. What is Bazball? We're not sure yet, really. But England were almost, I think the Bazball had got the better of them. Players like Zach Crawley, Ollie Pope, taking stupid runs. Ollie Pope, when he ran himself out, really, went for the run, turned around, too late. Harry Brook was sensible sending him back. And it was, there was never a run there. Zach Crawley as well, just bumping it, trying to get a score because he was on 3 or 14. As a test match opener, don't worry if you're on 3 or 14. You're still there at the end of the day. And I think some of that running, I think they were almost under pressure to score, which was unfortunate, really. But Ben Duckett and Harry Brook, two awesome players to have in this team, because they're both young, they're fearless, they're good against spin, and they've really taken to Test cricket. I know Ben Duckett's played Test cricket before, but they've really taken to it. And it's been great to watch these two young players, because it means that we're not relying on Joe Root. We're not relying on Ben Stokes. We're not just relying on Ollie Pope's potential. We've got other players who can score. We've seen Zach Crawley do it at the top of the order. My one complaint, though, with Zach Crawley is he isn't good against the moving ball. And I think that's where, in England, we might need to look elsewhere. Because in Pakistan, where you only get a bit of swing for a few overs, it's all right for Zach Crawley. But as soon as we get into these English conditions where the ball's swinging for 20 overs, is he going to be able to cope with it? Because he does tend to close the face of his bat quite a lot. So we'll see about that. But yeah, the rest of England's batting was solid, because they didn't go ballistic from ball one. They were more measured in their approach, because there's enough time in the game, right? There's still 3 days left after this one. So they've still got a lot of time. And I think if England set Pakistan, say, 300 to win, Pakistan probably would score those runs. They wouldn't make the same mistakes as they made in the first innings. And they've got classy players like Rizwan and Azam. So I think England are taking the sensible option. Harry Brook scoring at less than a runner ball, just over 60. Ben Stokes as well, scoring at just over 60. They're still going to play positive cricket, aggressive cricket, but I think they're dialing it back a bit, because the situation of the game doesn't call for it. And I think that's what Bazball is. It's reading the situation of the game and making the positive decision based on that. So that's good. The question is, how much will England set Pakistan to win? I don't see them batting through day 3, especially with Abra Ahmed, abracadabra, as he's being termed. I can see him taking a few. He's dangerous. And it will be interesting to see what England manage to set Pakistan, whether it will be 350 and they'll have a little collapse in the morning, whether this partnership can kick on and we can take it towards 400. That should be the aim, but we'll wait and see. It's an exciting game. It's excitingly poised. And that's that. So you've had me ramble at you for about 10 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe for more. Make sure you leave a comment. I'm not going to do Cricket Nurse questions today because we like to get the other boys' opinions on those. And I'm sure you would as well. So just as a little beef, in the comments below, write down who you missed more today, whether it was Benji or James, because they'll get upset about that. So yeah, leave your comment. Who did you miss more, James or Benji? But it's been good to talk about cricket. And make sure you follow us on social media. We are at Cricket Nurse Pod. Make sure you listen to us on all your podcasting sites as well. So if you're on the way to work, it's obviously safer to listen than watch, isn't it? So there we go. But thank you so much for watching, and we will see you later.